You're listening to Mr. Save-A-Home, Becoming an Agenteur.
What is good, Agenteurs? Hope all is well. It is a brisk morning here in Pottstown, PA. And today's topic is one that I personally love, I have a good passion for, and it's called health. No, I'm not talking about going to the gym. I'm not talking about meal prepping and having six-pack abs and running 5Ks, 10Ks, marathons, left and right. I'm talking about your general overall mental health and what you put into this business. Whether you're working a 9 to 5, whether you're self-employed, whether you're both, you're working 9 to 5 and you're self-employed. In my opinion, having a good mental state of mind is key. How we accomplish that, that's a broad spectrum there. In today's podcast, what I would like to address personally is what works for me. And hopefully it's something that you guys can use in your day-to-day routine, regardless if you're an independent contractor, W-2 employee, or both. So let's get into it. In this business, you have your highs and you have your lows. And I had talked on my previous podcast about rejection. And to kind of not really build off of that, but to kind of tie that in, is that, well, let me just give you an example. I have several properties on the market, and they went on the contract. Everything was fine. Everything was good. The offers, everything was nice. And then we had this really, all of a sudden, super cold weather come through, which wreaked havoc on some of the pipes in one of my listings. And then we had another issue on another listing. And I went from having a great day, a great birthday weekend, to just like WTF. I mean, think about it. Sunday morning, you're having breakfast, you're enjoying it with your family, and all of a sudden, you get a phone call, and it's a home inspector saying, "Hey, I'm here, and there's water underneath your kitchen sink." Or then you call from another person saying, "It looks like there's a leak coming from the roof of the kitchen of another home. What happened?" And I'm not gonna lie, like I freaked out for that temporary, and I wanted to punch a hole in the wall. I was so upset at this, and it was like Sundays are normal laid back days. And I was so livid. You would think 15 years in the business, or 20 years in the business, rather, 20 in the business, 15 as a real estate agent, that I would be used to this by now. But you don't. At least I don't. It's hard to get through rejection. It really is. And it's hard to hear news that you just don't want to hear. So what I did to deal with it was, in my basement, I have a little home gym system. It's nothing complex. It's a really simple system. I got it off of Craigslist, actually. And I simply went downstairs and I launched my Spotify and I put the meditation channel on, and I stretched my hamstrings. Each side, 2 minutes apiece, 3 times each. And then I did some push-ups. And then I did some curls. And then I did some tricep workouts. My point is, I just did what my body felt it needed to do. It wasn't a dedicated workout or leg day or upper body or whatever. It was just what I felt to do. During that process of every time I did some kind of workout, I lifted some weight or did an exhale, inhale, breathing exercise, I started figuring out what I needed to get done. I figured out I can call so-and-so to handle this problem. I can contact so-and-so to handle this problem, so on and so forth. It was just that moment of woosah, that moment of saying, okay, yes, it's not what I wanted to hear on any day, let alone on a Sunday, but it's part of our business. Whether we like it or not, whether we are cubicle people, non-cubicle people, W-2, 1099, these are things that are going to hit us, whether we like it or not, at the time that they're going to want to hit us. For me, I honestly believe taking a approach to have time for yourself on this, and I don't mean like, time for yourself, step away. I'm talking about just an internal time. I'm going to use the word selfish here, and I know selfish has a negative connotation to it. But it's that health, that point of being the best person you can be. And so at that point, when you have these stressors in your life, I turn to health. I turn to breathing practices and just moments of relaxation and lifting weights and push-ups and whatever it is that works for my body to overcome some of these things. And I would like to encourage you and employ you to implement certain things in your daily life. Whether you're someone who is, like I said, this podcast is just not for agents. It's for the agenteur, entrepreneur, investors, and agents, all alike. I would like you to start taking time for yourself. If you're at work, When you get on your 15-minute break or half-hour lunch or 1 hour lunch, take some time, stand up and sit down, stand up and sit down. That's a squat. Stand up with authority, sit down, controlling yourself. If you have time to do a push-up, yes, it's probably a little bit embarrassing. Do it at your office. If you got a suit and tie on, people are like, what the heck is this person doing a push-up on the floor? I get it. Put your hands on the wall. Take a step back and then push, lean forward, push back, lean forward and push back. We're not talking about 6-minute abs and boulder shoulders and athletic kind of training. What I'm just trying to encourage in everybody is to be the best version of yourself. And I'm going to go back to the word selfish I used not that long ago. That has a negative connotation to it. But to be honest, when you do take time for yourself mentally, especially mentally more than anything else, I do think you're creating a really good version of yourself. And that is what we all try to be, right? Like, we try to be the best version of ourselves so we can give the best version of ourselves. It's funny because you hear people say, oh man, go ahead, take care of business, do what you gotta go do and stuff like that. Well, what if taking care of business was taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of business or are you being selfish? What if do what you gotta go do means what you gotta go do is kind of take a step back and just realize what the big picture here is? I mean, do you really mean that when you say that to people? Or is that just lip service? It's open to interpretation. I understand that. I'm not trying to be super philosophical here, but I don't think the mental health aspect or health in general gets its full due, whether it be social media, podcast, or whatever. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be implemented more than anything on how just the simple moments of getting that blood flowing, doing the push-up, doing the sit-up, doing whatever it is, even just getting up and walking around, stepping back from your computer and just going for a walk outside if you can. Walking around in your current building that you're at, just to get the blood flowing. That's huge. About 6 years ago, I did a breast cancer walk in New York. We went through all 5 boroughs. It was a marathon and a half. I saw a person there. I saw a female there, and physically, to me, she just didn't like someone who could have competed a marathon. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I first saw her, and I'm like, there's no way she's gonna compete it. Physically, she just didn't have what I, at that time, took to be the shape of a marathoner, whether it be walking or running. Not proud of it. Admitting your mistakes, though, this is how we go, right? So this was a marathon and a half. This woman wiped the floor with me. She not only completed the marathon, she did the half marathon afterwards. I only did the marathon half. And she pushed somebody in a wheelchair the whole time through the 5 boroughs of New York. That opened my eyes. That opened my eyes on so many different levels. And it wasn't just, oh, well, she got lucky. She did the same path. We all had to do the same path. Whatever I did, she did it. She did it better. She took it to the next level because she was pushing somebody. That, to me, Agenteurs, is mental fortitude. She wanted it. And there was nothing going to stop her way. And my dumbass just made the assumption because she looked a certain way, she couldn't do it. Let me tell you, when I tell you she wiped the floor, she wiped the freaking floor with me. I didn't finish it. She did. I wish I knew who she was or who to talk to her about. That's an inspirational story right there. I guess my point is that when we want something bad enough, it's what we put our mental conditioning through to get there. An analogy I use, for those who don't know me, I'm a car guy. I love my cars. And there's tires you put on luxury vehicles, there's tires you put on sports cars, there's tires you put on SUVs. They're all made from rubber. However, if you look on a tire, there's numbers on the tire. Those numbers just tell you the thickness and the width and the speed rating. As people, we get on a scale and we think that number defines us. That number is just a number. It doesn't say what we're made of. It doesn't give us our content, what we're built to do, what we're able to do. I'm a strong believer that if you mentally prepare yourself for what faces you, you can get through it. It's not just the number on the scale. It's not just what things in front of you. Yes, you invest in property, and yes, you invest in other things, and yes, you take your hard-earned money that you make at your W-2 job as an independent contractor, and you invest it into yourself, and you invest into things. But I tell you right now, I believe that we invest it more into things than we invest into ourselves. We make a lot of excuses that we don't have time for this, we don't have time for that. I would like you to ask yourself, is it that you don't have time or you just don't make the time? Because I tell you right now, Sunday nights, I make time to watch football. On Monday nights, I make time to watch football. But on Saturdays, we make time to go out and go do things on weekdays or whatever. Why don't we make time just for ourselves to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go here. I'm going to do a quick little workout, 5-minute workout, 10-minute workout. Anything you can to get the blood flowing on a regular basis is preparing yourself for the next challenge up ahead. And believe me, you will have challenges. Being an agenteur just doesn't mean being an agent. Remember, we spoke about this on day one. You're an agent. You're an investor, you're an entrepreneur. I would love to say you're going to be preparing for this today. It doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. So having that mental health, having your body being ready and conditioned to deal with whatever life throws at you is a key proponent. And I hate to tell you, but maybe that negative word of selfish is not so negative after all. It's just you doing you and taking time for you. At the end of the day, do what works for you. Only thing I can tell you is what works for me. I hope you guys found this beneficial. And as always, I encourage you to reach out, tell me your stories. If you have any issues, Navid at MrSaveAhome.com. Give me a buzz at 484-525-0010. Remember, never chase money, always chase the deal. Do right by your clients, and everything else will fall in place. Take care.